After your third title, when the police department told you that you're taking too many days off, was there maybe a situation where you thought, okay, maybe I want to be a policeman and I don't stay in the bodybuilding business?
Never.
Never. Okay, you made that decision and you just said,
to think like that.
Okay, I stay in bodybuilding and so I'm not a policeman anymore.
Yeah, because I'm making millions.
Okay, that's the thing. Okay,
Yeah,
of course.
so it was a no-brainer, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
of
making
course.
millions
Of course.
being Mr. Olympia, and I'm only making 45,000 maybe.
Yeah.
On a good year, you know.
Yeah.
So it was a no-brainer. Like I said, I was heartbroken, but
Of course.
I'm not stupid.
Of course. So
I'm not giving up millions of dollars.
but you stay connected to your colleagues and you
Yeah,
gave them a visit or
to
something.
be honest with you, I did stay on and kind of do like a reserve where you could work 40 hours a month.
Okay.
And still, you know, have your commission.
Yeah.
So
And you did that.
I did that for a while.
Oh, okay.
Until I got too busy for that too.
Okay.
Yep. So only thing about that is they didn't pay you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're doing volunteer work, you know. Just, you know, hang around the guys and say,
and serve the
keep
public
your commission,
and,
say you still a police officer for the most part.
Yeah.
But you know what? People are so kind of screwed up in the head, you know. I remember one time I was going to the chiropractor, and I had to go to another city.
Yeah.
Because right next to Arlington was this small city called DWG.
Yeah.
Dow Worthington Gardens.
Yeah.
And they had their own police department.
Uh-huh.
And a buddy of mine's like, man, I don't know about you, but those guys in DWG kind of off a little bit. So every time I got to go to that city, I make sure I go around it. Because I ain't trying to get pulled over by them idiots over there.
Really?
And I'm like, you think they that bad? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So one day, I was going to the chiropractor, and when I left to go back home, I get pulled over.
Really?
Yeah.
Officer Coleman gets pulled over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, hey, I know you. I'm like, yeah, I'm Coleman, you know. I worked at Arlington Police Department. He's like, yeah. You got your badge on you? I'm like, yeah, I got it. It's right here. So he goes back to his car. He's like, hold on, I'll be right back. I'll be with you in a minute. So he goes back to his car.
Yeah.
And I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and I see this clown. He's reading a book. I'm like, what the hell is he reading?
A book?
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell is he reading? And I'm like, oh, it don't concern me.
Yeah.
So he comes back up to my car, and he's like, hey, I was Coleman, I got some bad news for you. I'm like, bad news? Like, what? He's like, well, you're under arrest.
Oh.
I'm like, for what? He's like, well, you're not a police officer no more. You showed me your badge, so you impersonating an officer. I'm like, dude, you lost your mind.
He was asking for the badge.
Yeah, like you was asking for it. He's like, yeah, but you still can't say you're a police officer, and so you're on the arrest for impersonating an officer. I'm like, man, this has got to be a joke. But no, it wasn't no joke. He put handcuffs on me and took me to jail and booked me in.
With handcuffs, even.
Yeah, I'm on the news.
Ronnie Coleman arrested.
yeah, exactly. It was the biggest thing ever happened in the city of Arlington.
Ronnie Coleman arrested.
Arrested for impersonating an officer. I'm like, dude, I worked for the police department for 15 years. How the hell you gonna say I'm impersonating an officer?
I guess you never went there again, and you changed the chiropractor.
No. I still went, and I still went through that city.
Did they apologize to you?
No, they didn't apologize. Them idiots, them clowns.
Okay.
But they never went anywhere.
But a lot of people know you in that area.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And in the state of Texas, you are always a police officer, no matter whether you retired, working currently, or whatever. You're always an officer.
Yeah, of course.
So this clown just come to find out, he was a dirty cop. He ended up getting arrested.
Oh,
Yeah, like 3 months later for raping girls.
really?
Yeah, and he would arrest these mostly black girls, and he would put them in the front seat of his car.
Yeah.
And so while he was taking them to jail, he would reach over there and start feeling on them, and
Whoa.
using his finger on them.
Oh.
Well, I guess one of them decided, she wasn't gonna take it, and she turned him in, and and the FBI and everybody came out and arrested him and took him to jail for real.
Good.
So he ended up being the bad cop
Yeah.
all
Bad
around.
cop. Yeah.
Not only in his mind, but also for real, in theory, a rapist. Boy, I tell you, you got all kinds these days. So I guess, him taking me to jail was his time to say he was this upstanding officer that followed the book or whatever. But it backfired on him. He ended up going to prison.
Good.
Yeah, so it's always one guy out there that's doing really bad, trying to make himself look good. So he come to find he was the real crook,
Yeah.
in the scenario.
Yeah. But this is the only time you experienced something bad like this.
Yeah, that was the only time.
Because from what I've seen, that people all around the world, they just get excited when they see you still till today.
But like I said, nothing really happened with the charges. You can't arrest somebody that you can't impersonate somebody that you really are.
Yeah, of
You
course.
can't impersonate a officer if you were an officer. Is what I'm saying.
So if I was wearing a badge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be, But like I say, there's always some crook somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
You always find somebody in life who's a crook. Yeah.
Yep. And it's just my lucky day that I happen to be the one that he came across and gonna use me to make himself look good. Make himself look good when he was actually a real bad guy. Because I'm not out, breaking the law.
Yeah.
And committing felonies like him. But that's just life,
Yeah.
Gonna always be people out there like that.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, so
It's a shame, but it is the way it is.
What it is.
It is what it is.
Yep, it is what it is. But for the most part, I really enjoyed my career for the police department, and if I could work it today, I would still work it.
Really?
I still miss that job, and wish that I could work it because I had a lot of fun. The satisfaction out of helping people that really needed help was really refreshing to me, and I look forward to going to work each and every single day because it felt like I was, contributing to society and trying my best to make the world a better place to be. So that's why I look forward to going to work each and every single day.
Yeah.
For that reason and that reason only, for the most part.
Making the world a better place. Yeah.
Yep, and trying to, make it, and trying to make a difference.
But you're now doing this, I think, in a different way.
Yeah.
Because you're like a role model.
Yeah.
for
Yeah, that too. I also went out to a lot of the high schools and junior high.
You do?
And gave speeches and stuff like that. So I also got to interact with a lot of the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And try to help them out also. It was called a DARE program.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, I forget what DARE stands for now. It's been so long that I've done that. But it was a lot of fun doing that too.
Yeah.
Going out, helping the kids, making sure they stayed on the right track.
Yeah.
And of course they love seeing me come in there all muscular. I would do like demonstrations sometime where I would bench like 4 or 5 for like 10, 15 reps. I would every now and then put 500 on there and do some reps with that too.
What somebody does, yeah.
Yeah.
Business as usual.
But it was a lot of fun doing that too.
Yeah.
So I loved everything about that job. Like I said, still miss it today.
Yeah.
And wish I could still work it today. Because it was just that satisfying, and I had just that much amount of passion to work it.
Yeah.
You know what they say about
I
passion.
can see that, yeah.
Once you find passion in something, you really never work a day in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was kind of like that with me, And I can say it was a true passion because there was, like I said, there was a time where I didn't get paid to do that, and still did it. So I had a real passion for doing it and truly enjoyed it. Now, the bodybuilding thing, I can still do. I just can't lift as heavy as I could back in the day.
Yeah.
Because of, the restrictions from all those surgeries. Like I said, after every neck surgery, I would get weaker and weaker and weaker.
Yeah.
I started out being able to do 4 or 5 on my first one to the last one, barely 185. And that was a struggle.
Yeah.
That was a big struggle. But, after it was all said and done, I'm not going to win another Olympia. I'd already won 8. And I was extremely happy to win 8. Because for somebody to just get into bodybuilding for a free membership to the gym, I accomplished a whole lot.
You can say that, yeah.
That was the only reason why I got in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Because it worked out like this. One day I was on a call, and we always worked the calls by ourselves. It was not like a non-emergency situation.
Yeah.
So where you had to go out and just take a report or something.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the calls, they always sent 2 people, and it was up to you to say disregard backup or I don't need backup and I can do this by myself.
You just decide by yourself.
Yeah, you decide on your own.
Yeah.
Well, one of the calls, the guy who was my backup, I disregarded him, but he ended up showing up anyway. And he's like, man, I just want to come out here and meet you and find out what gym you was working at and all this and that. And I'm like, well, I'm working out at the station. And he's like, oh, man, there ain't enough.
You had like a weightlifting room.
Yeah, we had a weightlifting room at the station,
Yeah.
at the main station. But it was a room maybe this size right here.
Oh, okay. So rather small and
real small.
like
real
you had a
small.
barbell and a bench and
Yeah,
a rack or
barbell,
something.
bench, and a rack. And,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that was about
Powerlifting,
it. And some weights.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, ain't enough weight in there. It wasn't enough. I remember one day I was benching and I ran out of weights because, you know, they only had about 400 pounds, maybe 350, 400 pounds, somewhere in there.
Only, yeah.
And he was like, man, you need a real gym. I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I work out at this gym called Metroflex. You ought to come over there with me. I'm like, okay, I'll be over there tomorrow. So the next day, I go to Metroflex, and Brian's the owner. Brian Dobson, the owner. He's like, man, you're a pretty big guy. I'm like, yeah, I've been working out for a long time. I've been on the powerlifting team and everything. He's like, you ever consider bodybuilding? I'm like, no, what's that about? It's like, well, guy get on stage, they compete. I was like, no, dude, I ain't never considered doing nothing like that. He's like, man, you should consider it. You could do pretty good in this sport.
How old were you at that time?
I just turned 25.
25?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember I was 22 when I graduated.
Yeah.
Then I worked 2 years at Domino's, and then another year, of training and stuff. So I was right around 25. And he was like, you should consider bodybuilding. You can make a lot of money. You could be world champion one day in this sport. I'm like, no, Brian, that's all right. I heard those guys have to take drugs, steroids, and they have to diet and all this stuff. And
That's not for me.
that's not for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not in the diet, and I'm definitely not trying to take no steroids because I just got this job at the police department.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to get in no trouble. He's like, oh, no, you could do this. You ain't got to do all of that. I'm like, nah, that's okay. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy, just working for the police department and going to work each and every single day with that. Well, the next day I come in there, and he's like, man, you should really do this bodybuilding thing. I'm like, no, dude, I already told you that I'm not interested in no bodybuilding. I can't diet. I like eating, hamburgers and hot dogs. I like eating real food.
Real food. Yeah.
He's like, oh, you could do it. It's not that bad. I said, no, thank you, Brian. I really don't want to do no bodybuilding.
No
Well,
bodybuilding.
the next day I go in the gym. He's still after me. He's like, dude, I'm telling you, you could be Mr. Olympia one day. I'm like, what's that? He's like, that's the best bodybuilder in the world. I'm like, no, Brian, I can't be no Mr. Olympia, dude. There's no way I could be no Mr. Olympia.
I don't want to be.
He's like, I tell you what. He's like, I give you a free membership to this gym. All you gotta do is compete in this show coming up in like 3 months. He's like, I teach you how to diet. I teach you how to, train like a bodybuilder. He's like, I teach you everything you need to know. And I'm like, a free membership? I'm like, dude, you probably should have led with that. I could use the free membership right now because, I'm kind of behind on my bills and, I'm struggling, And he's like, okay. I'm going to teach you how to train and everything, and we're going to do this show together. So Brian taught me how to diet as a bodybuilder. He taught me how to pose, and we would go to this guy's house like twice a week. And he would record us, doing our poses and stuff. He had this room, he had this shed in the back of his house. And he had this recording device set up in there. He had like a little stage set up in there also, and Brian would show me all these poses and show me how to, put a routine together and all this. Like I said, we did this twice a week, every single week leading up to the show. And I got used to dieting, but I never took any drugs or anything. And I did my first show
All natural,
drug free and everything. And I went in there. I never forget it like it was yesterday. It was April 7th, 1990. I remember the date and everything.
Yeah.
And I remember getting up on stage, and man, I had the time of my life. I enjoyed it. I had fun, you know. And to top it all off, I won my weight class, and then I won the overall.
Really?
Yeah. And then afterward, I had all these girls after me. And I was like, oh yeah, this is the
There's
thing
something.
for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this a lot. And the next show I did was the next week. It was April the 14th, 1990. I won that show, and I won overall in that show too. And then like the next 3 or 4 shows I did, I won first in overall. And I remember the last show I did, I could qualify for the nationals, the men's nationals, which was the biggest show in bodybuilding. And if you won, you would get your pro card. Well, I went to that show, and I ended up placing 3rd.
3rd. Oh, okay.
Yeah, my first men's national, my first time being a bodybuilder. And
all natural.
yeah, all natural.
And all the other guys were not natural.
They drug tested that show.
Ah, okay.
They actually drug tested the show, where you had to go and pee in a cup and everything. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. I like this sport. I got 3rd my first time in the nationals. Brian might be on to something. And all I got to do is compete, and I get a free membership to the gym. So the next year I went back to the nationals, and I placed 4th. I went from 3rd to 4th. And I'm like, oh, man, I ain't doing that good in this sport. Well, anybody that could pass the drug test could do the Team Universe, where they took a team to a foreign country, and you competed in it used to be called Mr. Universe, but there was so many Mr. Universes out there, they changed it to the World Championships.
Yeah.
So my first year, it's kind of like my second year, because my first year I didn't turn pro or nothing. But in this show, if you could pass the drug test, you could go to that. Well, I was the only one in my weight class. There were 43 guys in my weight class, and I was the only one that showed up to take the drug test. The only one. And of course, I passed it because I was drug free. I didn't take anything. And they took us to Poland.
Poland. Okay.
So my second year in the sport, I went to Poland my first time ever out of the country. I had to get a passport and all this stuff.
Okay.
And I ended up placing first in that show, and got my pro card. And I'm like, wow.
And all the other guys might have taken something?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
For sure
But you
they
won
did.
anyway.
Yeah, I went anyway, and I won. Got my pro card and everything. And I even qualified for Mr. Olympia.
Really?
For winning my weight class. And, they had certain ways you qualify for Mr. Olympia. One, if you won your weight class in that national show, you could qualify that way. If you placed in the top 3, this was back a long time ago. They don't do this no more. If you placed in the top 3 in a regular pro show, you could also qualify for Mr. Olympia. Well, I qualified from, winning my weight class in a national show, the World Championships. And my first year in the sport, just turning pro, I went to the Mr. Olympia.